Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Jared's Books. I'm Jared, and wanted to put together a video on this Sunday afternoon. And I'd been meaning to put this one out maybe on Thursday, but I was sick like 2 weeks ago, and it went away, and then came back. I don't know if it's allergies or what it was, but had me down for a few days, and wasn't good at all. So I'm getting over it, but feeling a lot better. And I read a book last week by one of my he's my favorite author of all time. I've read multiple of his books multiple times, and I'm talking about John Steinbeck. And the book I read was To a God Unknown. It's one of his earlier works. I've read this one about three times now. That was my third time, and it's a pretty short read at 186 pages. It took me like a week, but you could probably read it a lot quicker if you wanted to plow through it. But this isn't one of those books you want to plow through. There's a lot of deep. It's a deep book. It's a heavy book, and some of you are probably thinking like, well, you've read it like twice already. I did, but one of the times, I think the first time I read it, I was just like some 16-year-old lifeguard, and then I read it in my early 20s when I was just some drunk waiter, and now I'm pushing 40 and with kids, and the book hits a lot harder. These things these things seem to make a little bit more sense. Some of these narratives and stuff like that, and you kind of get a different perspective at life, and especially with some of the undertones and topics in this book. But one of his earlier books that he wrote, it was published in 1933, John Steinbeck, and like in all John Steinbeck's novels, he does a really good job. His prose and description of the land. He's pretty notorious for all of his books taking place like in the Salinas Valley out in California. This one's no different. It's in the Nuestra Senora area out in California, just south of Salinas Valley. But throughout the book, he's constantly describing the land, the changing of the land. He makes in all of his books, he makes the land and he makes the landscape a character in itself, and that character, the land, always ends up coming into play with your protagonist or antagonist or whoever. The protagonist in this one is going to be a Joseph Wayne. He is a 40-year-old Vermont farmer that is looking to go out west and make his claim to fame during, I guess, the Great Westward Expansion in the United States. And he gets his father's blessing, and he goes out and he gets a huge plot of land. Um, and then his father passes away, and he becomes the patriarch of the family, and he believes that his father's spirit is been embedded into this giant oak tree that's on the property. And there's a lot of plays and tones of he's looking at it almost like a spiritual nature. He's developed a spiritual relationship with the land, and more importantly, this tree. Also, a sacred, Native American spot far off in the woods. That's a big clearing with a big rock on it. Um, there's a lot of symbolism of like a paganism and things like that. There's tones of paganism in the book because he's actually worshiping the tree and placing, meat in it. He places his newborn son in the tree. He talks to it, and where the clash kind of comes in is he invites his two brothers to come out there and live on the land with him and stake their claim to fame. And one of the brothers is a deeply religious person, and he there's some good back and forth there, and it provides really good insight into the two clashing, the world of conformed religion and Christianity against old pagan and spiritual beliefs. And it's an excellent book. It's heavy. It John Steinbeck's really good in a lot of his works at creating a impending sense of doom that leads up to usually a pretty dramatic and climactic finish, and this one's no different. It, I'm trying to think of some other elements in here. You know, the paganism there, the spiritualism. You know, the land as a character development. I think there's a really strong message of the cyclical nature of life and death in the book. Um, the earth kind of being like elements of mother nature being in control when sometimes humans kind of think that they are, and it just can't be farther from the truth. Um, the description is really good in here. The character development of Joseph Wayne is great. I really liked his wife Elizabeth, and kind of her growth throughout the book. I won't go any further. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but it's some pretty interesting development with her, with him. There's a Catholic priest that's in here that, you know, toward the ending, I think is a really cool scene with the Catholic priest. And that is definitely some clashing between Christian and paganism beliefs and spiritualism. If you're looking for it's not an easy read. I wouldn't say it's an easy read by any means. You know, it's an older book. It was, you know, published in 1933. Um, but if you get into it, if you give it, you know, like 30 pages, you'll start settling in to the tone of the book, and it's really good. It's a really good book. So I rate everything on a scale of 1 to 5. Um, this one's easily a 4.9 for me. It's a great novel. Third time reading it, and as a grown adult now, with, like I said, with a wife and kids and things like that, um, and just getting older, and you look at things differently. It's really good. Really liked it. Can't recommend it enough. Um, just in some general updates, what I'm currently reading now, I have started Dune Part Two. Uh, it's going good so far. I think one of my earlier problems with the other one was a lot of narrative, but this one's doing a little bit more descriptive work, I guess. I will say, and this has nothing to do with like the actual like writing of the book. The size of this book is it really bothers me. Look how I mean, I have bigger hands, but the book is like it just doesn't fit well in my hand. Don't I'm not digging the feel on it. Like, but that's it. So that's pretty much it. Just the same old stuff. Getting over from the sickness. So I'll try to put out another video this week. I said I was going to do a Tokyo Vice, and I did do a book haul. I had a birthday last week, and got a gift card to Half Price Books, and I'm going to be reading The Last Van Gogh. Real interested in that one. Kind of a story about there's a hidden self portrait that's kind of like a mystery that Van Gogh did. That's kind of the basis of the novel. I'm also going to be reading The Case for Who Killed Kennedy. It's with by Roger Stone. It's kind of the case that I'm real into that stuff, like I really dig the '60s, '50s, and the whole JFK conspiracy. So really looking forward to this one, kind of pointing the finger at LBJ. And then the other one was, let me see if I have it pulled up here. I think it was, yeah, Empire of the Summer Moon, Kawana Parker and the Rise and Fall of the Comanches. When I was sick and laid up, I was watching Dances with Wolves, which is, the movie's awesome. They just don't make them like, they don't make movies like they used to. Like, that movie was great. It's a longer one, but if you're ever laid up on the couch or you have like a lazy rainy day, man, watch it. Some good '90s Kevin Costner. That's an awesome movie, and so I was feeling a little bit inspired by that and wanted to, you know, read more. So I got some good nonfictions coming up. I got real into the nonfictions after reading Chaos. Of course, was my favorite nonfiction, which is now a Netflix documentary. If you want to go check it out, I don't think that the Netflix documentary did that great a job compared to the book. They left out a lot of the underlying tone of what the book was about. You know, the documentary just seems like another Manson documentary. So I didn't really dig it. I watched that too when I was sick. Um, but yeah, I want to do a little bit more nonfiction. But I did want to, you know, I wanted to go back and get something classic. If you're looking for a classic literature read, definitely pick up To a God Unknown by John Steinbeck. And then I wanted something a little bit more fun and fantasy, so I figured I'd go through Dune Part 2. This one doesn't look that long. It's about like 320 pages, but these pages are small. And it's like bigger font, you know. So like this should be a quick read. Now that I'm feeling better, can get back on it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you like what I'm putting out, thanks for stopping by as usual. Keep reading, stay healthy. Take your vitamins, that kind of thing. Try to exercise, and hope everybody is doing well. Give me a comment. Let me know what you thought about some of the stuff I talked about. Let me know if you guys have read any John Steinbeck. He's my favorite author. I would say it's John Steinbeck, Stephen King. Um, yeah. Let me know what you think. If you've read this one, I have never met anybody that's read it. It's not a well-known novel. So if you've read it, I'd love to hear your take on it. And yeah, thanks for stopping by, guys. Keep reading. Thanks.